This video is probably long awaited for many. I have been asked many times, what rims are you going to put on the Nova? And now I have the great pleasure of showing you. Now when I was choosing the rim, I had a couple things in mind. I wanted chrome, so that's one thing you now know about the rims, so they're chrome rims. And I wanted a double staggered set. So basically the fronts are going to be 17, the rears are going to be 18 inch. For the rears, I wanted nice wide footprint, and that is so that it retains that, you know, that mean look, the muscle car look, where you always have those big thick tires in the back, and then of course in the front is slightly thinner. The back wheels maximum width that I was able to fit is 10 inches. Now I didn't want to mini tub the car, and I didn't want to get a 9-inch rear and shorten it down. I wanted to maintain the stock rear and of course the stock configuration as far as the wheel wells. I didn't want to invest all that, you know, extra money in that if the car is just going to be a cruiser. So the 10-inch wide wheels was what I came up with as far as measuring. And later on in this video I will explain how I got that measurement so that other people can do it for when you're shopping for rims. So now I get to show you the rims. So the box is open, and these are the rims. These are called Novas. That's right, N-O-V-A. It's fitting for the Chevy Nova. So that is the name, and the company that made them is American Racing, and they're nice and shiny chrome. Now I'll show you the measurements of the rim out of the box. So here it is on the table, and basically you can see the rim design. It's just a 5-star, but it does have that deep dish appeal to it. And so in order for me to calculate this rim to fit in the wheel well, I needed to figure out what was the backspace. And backspace is basically, you take the measurement from the edge of the rim to the mounting pad. And the distance between the mounting pad and the edge of the rim, that's what's backspacing. And the difference in backspacing decides on where this is going to be within the rim. So back and forth. Now, if you take the rim and you cut it in half, that would be 0 offset. And when you start moving the center of the rim left to right or in and out, that's negative or positive offset. So for this rim, I wanted a positive offset. So basically move the mounting flange out towards the outside of the rim. So that way more of the rim fits inside of the wheel well. And so that's basically offset in a nutshell. You basically want to have the center, the mounting portion of the rim, which is also the design of the rim, you want it a certain distance either from the edge of the front or the edge of the back. And in my case, my main concern was the edge of the back. The offset on this is 24 millimeters. So basically, the distance between the edge of the rim to the mounting pad is 6 inches, roughly 6 inches. So that leaves 4 inches from the mounting pad to the front of the rim. So that was very important for me to calculate when I wanted to see how this rim was going to fit, because this rim has to be able to fit inside the wheel well throughout the compression of the rear axle, because the car will be dropped as well. So we'll look at that, how I did that right now. Now here we are with the rear, and the first thing I had to do was check to see if the rim fits in this wheel opening because of the offset on the wheels. Now to do so, what I did was I took the measurement from the face of the disc brake to the back of the wheel well, which is this area here. And I took into consideration the shock, the way it lines up in the car, the suspension components, anything that may touch the rim as it rotates. And I'll show you how I took the measurements for the backspacing, which is what I'm worried about when I'm thinking about the rim actually touching this area. So I wanted to calculate the maximum backspace I can have from the mounting flange, so that when I buy the rim doesn't go in too far and touch the back of the suspension. And then I take another measurement from the front of the disc to the edge of the fender. Now this fender is not modified. This is the way it came from the factory, so it has not been cut. So most of the time when people put wheels on these Novas, they cut the lip so that it doesn't rub up against the edge. So I wanted to first get the measurement with it in its stock form. So from the front to the edge of this lip. And I'll show you how I did those measurements right now. Okay, got you on the tripod, and now I'll show you how I basically took the measurements. I got a nice long straight edge, in this case a 2.5 foot level, and a measuring tape. And what you want to do is you want to take that straight edge and you want to put it on the mounting pad of your brake system. In this case I have disc brakes, but if you have drum brakes, same thing applies. Then what you want to do is you want to get a measurement from the edge that's touching the mounting pad, and you take the measurement from there all the way to the back. And you take another measurement from the same straight edge to the front where the quarter panel is. Take note of those two measurements. When you're looking at the rim, the measurement from the mounting pad to the back is considered backspacing. That's what you want to worry about. You don't want the rim to touch the back, anything in the back. Now, in my case, I want my Nova dropped. So when the suspension gets compressed, the wheel's going to want to go inside the wheel well. So backspace was most important for me. And when I calculated my maximum wheel width, in my case it's 10 inches, I don't want the wheel to touch the front. So because I'm using the measurement of 10 inches, with the backspacing, I can calculate how much I want the rim to go inside the wheel well, and then whatever's left over will be inside between the front and the quarter panel. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how you calculate your own backspacing for the rims. Just get your straight edge and a measuring tape, and make sure you take in consideration everything that's in the wheel well. Suspension components, shocks, whatever it may be. So there it is on how I calculated the offset for the rim to be able to determine what measurement I needed to fit inside the wheel well. Now there's one more thing that I want to point out that I learned when I was figuring out all of this that I want to pass on to you guys. Now this rim is, when I purchased it, is 18 by 9. But if you notice, I kept saying 10-inch width. The rim states 18 by 9-inch width, but the actual width of the rim is 10 inches. And let me explain how that can be. Now when you're buying a rim, the width that they are advertising is in between the beads. So you see there, 9-inch, and that's in between the beads. Now when you take into consideration the beads, which are roughly about 1/2 inch, that's basically what most would use, the rim now becomes practically 10 inches. So when you're calculating the offset, you cannot use the rim width of 9. You have to use the rim width of 10. So if you got a rim that was 17 by 8, the center line would not be 4 inches. The center line would actually be 4.5 inches, because the 17 by 8 would actually be 17 by 9, because you always have to calculate ½ inch for each side of the bead, which in total makes up 1 inch. So bear that in mind when you're calculating your offset, so that you don't make a mistake and get a rim that's ½ inch too big on either side. You always have to add that in, so that when you're calculating your offset, you don't get a mistake and get the wrong size measurement. Okay, so hope that helps out. There's one more look at the rim. I'm really happy with the choice. It took me a while to figure out what rim I wanted, and of course the offset. I calculated all these measurements before I bought the rim, and if you use that method that I showed with the tape measure and a straight edge, you too would be able to calculate it before you get the rim, so that when you get it, you won't have a mistake. Hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.